Hi there, my name's Terry Pounds, and I'm a resident in McHenry County. This video is about a tax appeal that I did in 2015 for one of my properties. Actually, I did a couple different ones, but this particular one, I have showed the video footage. This is the only one that I videotaped. I think from now on that I will always, any type of tax appeal I ever go to, I would definitely videotape it. Yeah, as you can see in here, the reaction shots of when I pointed out a $22,000 mistake, the reactions, the one guy is really surprised because he wasn't expecting that. He had no idea because Mahady didn't do her job, and because she was told about this weeks before the hearing but never updated it. And I do have documentation even showing that that those corrections should have been made, but she never did. And it seems like I found a lot of mathematical errors going through the different ones that they reassessed of my properties. Mahady is very stuck on overassessing people. She says that most people in McHenry County are over or underassessed, is her words. So in this video, I talked to Jack Frank's staff about a property tax freeze and some other things. And if you could listen to it, it's very informative. By the time you're done listening to this video, you might decide you want to move out of the state. There's plenty of other states that have much better stuff going on than Illinois. A lot more better jobs, lower property tax, because the state of Illinois is the highest in the nation. For what reason? There's not really a lot here, in my opinion, for what you get for your property tax. You don't really get much for it, especially living in Johnsburg. Crystal Lake, you might get a little bit more. But please, the next video segment here is going to be the actual board meeting I had for my tax appeal. And you can see in there he actually says that he based his decision, his first thoughts on the property that Mahady added $24,000 to rather than subtracted, but yet they still went ahead and denied my appeal and sent me off to the state. Now I did file my state appeal. I'm still waiting to hear back from them. I would imagine it's probably going to be a couple years. That's pretty much, seems like McHenry County is sending most people off to the state. That's what it appears to me. But anyway, so hopefully this is useful to you, and please leave any comments that you would like on my YouTube, and I will try to answer any kind of questions you may have.
St. John's Road and McHenry Avenue.
I am basing that off of the comparable at 2516 Johnsburg Road,
Well,
which actually is an older house, actually.
she said that one was a commercial and that it has all these outbuildings and all that stuff, so
Well,
she didn't want to accept
Be that
it.
as it may, it adjusts down to
Oh, and they added,
122,745.
it sold for $100,000? The one on 2516 Johnsburg Road?
Okay, just up, okay.
See, she mistakenly added 22,000 when they should have subtracted 22,000. You know, that thing sold for 101, and then she added onto it rather than subtract it. So that really messes up that whole thing there too. And it has
I
outbuildings,
was
has
pinning a
houses
lot of
back.
this, my thoughts on this one.
State Representative Jack Frank's office. How are you this morning, Terry?
All right.
I was just calling because we got your emails regarding the e-newsletter we sent out, and I noticed in one of your emails I made a gigantic mistake in explaining Representative Frank's property tax freeze bill. The bill is for 2 years. It's permanent.
Oh, okay, that's better.
Yeah, that's a huge mistake on my part. So I apologize for sending
How
out.
did I get a mistake like why was that so?
That was on my end as I was putting the newsletter together. I was working from different press releases and bill analysis, and I got my wires crossed. And he had initially introduced a bill for a 2-year property tax freeze last year, and I got my wires crossed with this bill, which is
Okay, and
permanent.
when is this going to be voted on?
Well, unfortunately, in the Senate, it's been hijacked because they're trying to place amendments on it that would weaken collective bargaining rights. It's basically Rauner and the Republicans won't touch the bill unless it includes those anti-union measures as well. So, unfortunately, that's why it's being tied up in the Senate.
It's been put into a committee. Somebody that my neighbor, he was talking to I forgot what her name was. But she stated that the property tax thing's been put into some type of committee and just been sitting there. Is that
Yeah,
right?
it was. I mean, it went through the normal committee process where it's, assigned to a committee, but then it was put in a special subcommittee for that reason, because they were trying to put poison pill amendments on the bill. So that's why it's sitting there right now.
I got a feeling that none of this is ever going to pass. My opinion is that half of the state of Illinois is going to have to move away before anything's done to get incentive. You're going to have to start offering incentives for people to come back to Illinois, because right now, as a property tax owner, I'm really struggling to stay in my house. I'm not going to pay $1,000 a month to live in my own house. It's in taxes.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. And I am going. Me and my family are moving out of the state of Illinois, and I would encourage anybody right now. I don't want to stick around and fix Illinois and be at my thrown on the cost of that thrown on my back. And I kind of feel like they're getting really carried away with the property taxes. I have fought my taxes over the last 6 years, my property taxes, and they have when there was a different administration in there, they did lower them, and I felt that they were pretty close to being what they should be as far as what the laws say they should be in comparison to comparables in the area and stuff like that. Well, this year we got a new person in there. Her name is Mahady, and they totally shoved the taxes down my throat. My property tax went up $5,000 just 1 year. And then she now is, she sent out a tax assessor to my house, my personal residence, and I think she's getting ready to do retaliation on my home residence as well. I had proof, because I am a real estate broker, and I had very good comps as far as one of my rental properties. And Mary was trying to compare that property to homes that were built in 1978. Mine was built in 1860. I had 3 perfectly good comps that were in 1920 and under, one of them almost exact, and they still threw it out and sending me off to the state. I haven't explored I did file my tax appeal with the state. I haven't ever heard anything back, and I got the tax bill since then. I heard a few years ago that it takes like a couple years waiting list to get in front of the board in the state of Illinois, and that was back when things weren't even as bad as they are now with the how the government is for providing services to the people. It seems like they want to cut everything down that provides services to people. Well, I also did videotape my tax appeal, and that I'm talking about, and I pointed one of the big things that happened with it is they made in one of my comparables, they made an adjustment at Mary Mahady's office that should have been subtracted. They made an adjustment because it had outbuildings and stuff like that. So they added all that up, and that totaled $24,000. Well, the home sold for $100,000. They added it to the property, and at the end of the hearing, almost at the end, I said, "So what property exactly are you guys using to make your decision on? And he pointed out, he says, yeah, this is the property. And I said, did you know that Mary Mahady's office made a $24,000 error on there? They added it rather than subtract it, and his head flew back, and Mary's head flew back. And I got this all on tape because it's, you know, it's just a shocker. But yet, he still continued and said that he's, you know, keeping it the way it is. I'm very, very frustrated with the way this
So basically,
system,
they admitted that there was a mistake.
but
they
yet
added
sent me off to the state and
but they're going to But they're going to keep it as it is.
They're going to keep it as it is, right?
Wow.
I'm really, it's really, really frustrating. Not only, because my thought behind it was, okay, when I very first 5 years ago started fighting my taxes was, okay, we'll get them, you know, to what they should be, and then I understand that they're going to creep up, you know, a little at a time. But as soon as this lady got in, boom. I mean, it's like every one of my houses, she ridiculously overtaxed, and it's you know, they're going in front of the board. It's no good. They do nothing. All they do is they're sending everybody off to the state. Another thing she did is that she the last Carol Pesky would actually let you go in before the board and say, hey, you know, I kind of think I'm over-assessed or whatever. They took all that away. And the reason why is because a lot more people, I think, would feel intimidated going in front of the board, but just going down to their local assessor's office and talking to them, they wouldn't feel so. So they kind of got rid of some of the people because they're out to recover money that they don't have because people are moving out of the state of Illinois. The school referendum they just passed of $41 million, plus they have enrollment is way down. You know, they got this big school referendum. And, you know, now they're taking all this and they're throwing it on the taxpayers' backs, the property tax owners. And, you know, it's doing nothing but lowering the values of the homes because you can only get a loan for so much, and they're not just going to give you a loan to pay your property taxes only. So, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff going on. And I'm the more people I can tell about this and get people talking about what's going on, and, you know, and people moving out of the state of Illinois, there's a big problem here. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm moving to Tennessee as soon as I possibly can. I'm done with it. I'm not going to sit around and hope that they don't raise my taxes. I feel retaliation coming on and from my local tax assessor, and I haven't decided what I'm going to do with this video. Maybe I, you know, go send it off to Chuck Gowdy or something, because if they had maybe 15 or 20 other people that called in about the same thing, maybe they'll do something. I don't know. I'm really, really frustrated with it, and there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah, I mean, your frustration is completely legitimate. I mean, that's one of the things that we've been trying to work on here is why we tried to make the property tax freeze permanent. It's for reasons like this. I mean, you know, a mistake was clearly made on yours, but even if they admit it, they don't have to change it. They still have the authority to keep it, which is just, you know, not right. So, yeah, your frustration is completely warranted with the whole property tax situation here in McHenry County. And, you know, this is a problem statewide as well. So, and you're right, you know.
There's a lot of people that are over-assessed that don't say anything, and that's the other part of it. They, you know, why don't they have it where everybody's just taxed based off of what the, you know, they could come up with a more fair way where people don't have to wonder if I'm being taxed like everyone else and all that stuff. But they don't want to because they know that there's so many people that don't say anything, you know, and they're just they don't have the time to go do it, or they're afraid to go do it and intimidated by it. And then not only that, if you do go and fight your taxes, you go into the assessor's office, you'll hear the next person over and the next desk, they'll be telling them that, the person say, well, my house don't have 4 bedrooms and this one does. Oh, we don't go by bedrooms. But I'll be talking to this one next right to them. Oh, we don't count square footage. We only count how many bedrooms. You know, they'll sit there and lie. I mean, seriously, you go into your tax assessor office and they're very, tell you what fits their needs, and it doesn't have anything to do with what your needs are. It just shows you how corrupt the system really is. I used to do unclaimed funds for people too, and that even, dealing with the Treasury's office, you start trying to take money that people haven't went and claimed. They get very nasty about it, and then and to show that, they changed the laws about that. You can't go out finding people's money unless you have unless you're a lawyer now. And same kind of like with in a few years ago in Lake County, people were fighting their taxes. Oh, you got to have a lawyer. You can't have your local realtor that would know way more than your attorney would about what's going on with the prices. You have to have an attorney. Why? Because they don't want you to fight your property taxes. When you go on to unclaimedfunds.com for the state of Illinois, why do they only tell you either you have $100 unclaimed funds or under $100? They either tell you it's 100, over 100, or under 100. Now, what if you went on there and you had $500,000 that was from your family that you didn't know about? Are you going to go out of your way when they start asking you for your driver's license, copy of your driver's license, Social Security card, and all that stuff? Are you going to go out of your way for $100? No. Most people are saying, no, I'm not going through the hassle. Probably only $100. Not going to do it. They go in there with, if it said, oh, you got maybe $500,000. Now would you? Yes. And that's corruption. That's corruption, in my opinion.
Okay.
But,
well, again, I apologize for sending you the wrong information about that property tax freeze bill. I feel really bad about that.
So
and,
do you have any
wanted to
suggestions other than what I have done as far as my property taxes? Because
unfortunately, no, because, every time we get requests in from constituents, the only thing we can tell them is to go to the assessor's office, because that's the only, legal recourse that people have to appeal their property taxes. So unfortunately, that's all I really have for you.
You know what really frustrates me is that there was a few years back when Jack Franks was talking about a Bill of Rights, which I thought was a good idea, but he ended up throwing that on the shelf and never talked about it after he got reelected and stuff. And the reason why I it really got a bad taste in my mouth about it is because then when I called his office and talked to you guys, nobody knew what I was talking about. So that tells me it wasn't a very big priority as far as what he was working on it, because nobody even knew about what I was talking about. And it's really frustrating. And that is something that, needs to be put in place, because the tax assessor always has a different set of rules to protect them and no one else. And they can come up with any kind of rules they want about anything. They could make my house worth whatever they want, and there's nothing you can really do about it, and that's what they're doing. And that's what they're doing all the way across the state of Illinois. And then Mary Mahady has the nerve to tell me, I told her, most of the people in McHenry County are over-assessed, and she actually thinks that they're under-assessed. So she's not done yet. She's she thinks everybody's not paying enough.
Wow.
But
yeah, well, considering the mistake they made, that's kind of amazing for her to say. But anyway, again, I want to apologize for sending you the wrong information there, and I hope I was able to.
So it's not going to be voted on for a long time, probably, anyway. And
I honestly don't know.
They're not going to give up. They're not going to give up their money that they already get. I don't see how that's going to happen. Like I said, when everybody moves out of the state of Illinois, there's a big movement, and the more I talk about it, and the more other people I tell about it talk about it, there's going to be a lot of talking about people moving out in Illinois. And what are they going to do? They're going to freak out and say, I'm getting out while I can. That person's going to freak out, and so on and so forth. And that's what's going to happen, because there's better places to go than Illinois, way better places.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the property tax situation you're seeing, especially in McHenry County, you're seeing that exodus that you're talking about. So
We're the
I think
highest
you're
in
right.
the country. That's ridiculous. And for what?
Yeah.
You know, I live in Johnsburg. I don't know if you're familiar with Johnsburg, but there's
Mm-hmm.
I would rather live in Crystal Lake. I mean, there's nothing in Johnsburg. I don't know what they, you know, I came here because of the school system and stuff like that, but I really don't see it. There's nothing here. There's no park, you know, like if you go to Crystal Lake, there's nice park districts and stuff like that. So at least maybe your money's going somewhere where you can benefit from it. But in Johnsburg, nothing. There's just a bunch of rundown, broken down buildings and then a couple of nice subdivisions here and there, and that's pretty much it. And bars and places to buy alcohol. I don't know. I'm very, very frustrated with it, and I know why Mary Mahady sent out her tax assessors to my house. She said that it was because I just got a roof replaced. I had some wind damage, and they replaced my roof. That's what the people said they were out here for. But they came out here and snapped pictures and measured every single piece of my property, about everything. So I don't believe that. It was a roof. Come on. You know, why are you measuring out my house and everything all over again? It's clear to me why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see why you would think that. All right. Well, again, my apologies for giving you the wrong information, sir, and I hope I was able to help clarify.
And what is your name?
That bill for you. John Gordon.
Okay. And you're from Jack Frank's office.
Yes.
But that bill is still in a committee. It's just a different.
Yes.
It keeps getting shifted around to different committees. And what exactly does a committee do? What is their job to do?
Let's see here. I'm looking. Okay. All right. When it arrived in the Senate, it was assigned to the Executive Committee, and then it was put into a subcommittee from that one called the Subcommittee on Special Issues.
And what do they do, though? What do they do with it in the committee?
This subcommittee on special issues I've never heard of before. I think it's just one of those ad hoc things they put together. The executive committee is kind of a catch-all committee. You know, if it's a big issue or something like that, and it doesn't fit neatly into something else, they put it into the executive committee. It's one of in both the Senate and the House. It's one of the big standing committees where the executive committee is.
So really, nobody knows who would you contact that would really know what a committee does. So I would say most people probably don't even know what the committees do.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, the general public by and large, yeah. I mean, it's just a simple committee process. Let's see. I mean, the executive committee, just executive's kind of hard to explain because, like I said, it's kind of a catch-all type thing. Their bills range from all sorts of topics. So that's a especially difficult one to explain what it is they do. The subcommittee I've never heard of. I think it was probably just created to put bills in so they don't go anywhere.
Okay. All right.
Well, again, my apologies for the misinformation, and I understand your frustration pretty well.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that you guys won't be able to fix the problem before I move out of the state anyway, but I'm kind of, every time I even see the news and stuff, it's ugly stuff going on in Illinois, so I don't know. It's frustrating. I do like living here, but I don't like the tax part of it.
Yeah.
I don't like what's going on. But I kind of feel like what Ronner's doing. I kind of see maybe he is trying to fix some things, probably more to do with corporations and stuff. But I kind of see a shift on him by him not funding anything. They're kind of shifting it off to the property tax they're shifting some of that over onto the property tax owner, the property tax.
Mhm. Yeah, they're shifting the expenses to local units of government whose main source
And
of
that's
revenue is
another
property
thing.
tax.
I know some people have talked about getting rid of the townships. That's most states in the United States got rid of townships. Why don't we do that?
Yeah, Jack's put together legislation that would, in fact, a bill of his just passed the other day that would allow McHenry County and Lake County the ability to consolidate those townships. It would give the board the authority to do so.
The board
then
or the people?
The board. But there's also a referendum part where if they oppose, where let's say people in those townships are opposed to consolidating those, they can put together signatures after that resolution's been passed that would put it up for a referendum.
So then people would have to go out with the petition and get it signed?
Yes.
And that's in effect right now?
It passed yesterday. Let me see. It passed on Sunday, and it had to go back to the Senate for a concurrence, which is they changed something so the Senate has to concur, and then it would go to the governor for signature or his veto. And considering the governor that the governor has made consolidation kind of part of his, overall agenda, it would seem like he would sign the bill, but I don't know for sure.
I mean, the board. Why would they make? I mean, a board to get rid of their own jobs. Isn't that board part of the whole system?
No, we're talking about the county board. So no, you wouldn't consolidate the McHenry County board or something like that. We're talking about allowing them the authority to consolidate, like the township district, like the mosquito abatement district, stuff like that. The overall, so that's the authority they would be granted.
But not abolishing townships.
No, they would be able to. It would be consolidating townships, so it would take like 2 or 3 in a given area and consolidate it into one.
Why not just consolidate it all into McHenry County and just make it one?
That's a possibility, but there were a lot of
paying 20, 30 different tax assessors a pension, and then everybody that comes on board is basically getting a pension out of the deal. It's just that's one of the big problems already with it as well, So we have seen movement on that issue that would allow McHenry and Lake County. Because there's a similar program that's already been in place for DuPage County where they've done that, where the DuPage County board has consolidated and eliminated these duplicative governmental units like townships. Some of them you call and they don't even know nothing about anything. I mean, they don't even really know anything. Like you call the tax assessor and they're like, like a lot of them some of them you can pull up your tax information on the property right there on the website. Some of them you have to call, and then it takes them a while to find the paperwork and all that. Those kind of things need to go away. I don't know. They don't seem very efficient. What have they been doing, Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm sorry. I have a couple other calls
Okay.
I have to take here, sir. So thank you for your time. And again, my apologies for
All
this
right.
information. I hope I was able to clear that up for you.
All right, then. Thank you.
Okay. You have a good day, sir.